1, 2, 3. Down. Thank you. Try that again. 1, 2, 3. Down. Thank you. And I want to thank all of you. And it is a joy to be with you this evening. I have been inspired. I am going to qualify for something higher. I haven't figured it out. I'll tell you, what a powerful group of people we have here tonight. I am humbled and overwhelmed by these award winners that I've heard, and then yet all of you are winners and qualified. I saw a saying a while back, and I don't remember who it was, some famous American, and he said, "Make no small plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood." Make no small plans because they don't excite anybody. And yet, when I see this business, I got to tell you, we thought we had a big plan, but you know, when you start a business like this, you're just trying to survive. You're trying to make a few bucks so that you can afford to reinvest and advance the business. And only because we saw what you are doing did our vision enlarge to where we could have big plans and have the magic that stir men's blood to greater achievement. And so every time we achieve and we see people who achieve, we put new fuel in the engine of this business. And everybody says, if they can do it, I can do it. They asked me to talk about the first circle, because that's the theme that we're working on. Our business has grown all over the world. It has not grown properly in the United States. And so we are trying to refocus our energies back to the first circle. They say the first circle you got to pay attention to is the person you sponsor. But the first circle is your circle. So whenever you think of that circle you're looking at, that I'm in, so I'm the first circle, okay? You think of what's in your circle. And you have to, as you all in this room understand the concept of the business, you are rewarded in relationship to what you have in your circle. The Jaegers are being honored with 60 FAA points now. Nobody has ever achieved 60 FAA points before. The reason for that is that their circle is full. It's important to have the circles fill of all your people. But all of your people will not fill those circles unless you fill your circle, because they follow you. They finally do what you do, not what you tell them to do. It's when you grow that they grow. And I have watched this business for 57 years. It is the only business, except the first couple that Jay and I were in, that we know. I was 23 and Jay was 24 when we started. I said, oh, we've done all of our adult life. And so when you talk about the security of the business and how will it last and how will it go, well, I don't know anything except that it gets bigger and that it gets better. And that's because of what you do, because you are filling your circle. Now, I always take that back to when we began in the business and think in terms of our personal business. When we began, we started full-time in this business. By the way, I want to thank my upline, who's been dead for 25 years. And his upline, who I don't know if he's living or dead. I know my upline because he was a good friend, and I have a relative who gets some of the dividends from his upline income yet. And it is one of the 3 or 4 founding principles of the business, when we look back at it, that talk about filling the first circle. We went through a stage to where we wanted to just get more people, but we forgot to fill the bucket of our own so that they would fill their bucket. And so too many people didn't make any money. The goal in the business is to help other people make money. Not just get other people to get other people. We have to make and do everything we can to help each person make money. Now, Jay and I started full-time in this business. Jay's mother was a customer. She was using Nutrilite. And she talked to us about how wonderful the product was. And so she said, my relative sold it to me and he wants to talk to you two guys. We had gotten out of our previous business, and we had just gone to South America where our boat sank, and we had just returned. And we were kind of looking around. We started a little importing business, and then this guy came over to see us. Once we saw the plan, we signed up. We never looked back. We stopped everything we were doing, and we said, we're going to do this business full time. Now, granted, we were both single, so that was an easier decision. We had a little money in the bank, and that helped a little bit. But nevertheless, we believed in it enough, knowing no one else who was in the business except our sponsor, and believed him and got in the business. We went to a meeting in Chicago, big meeting, must have been 100 people there. And the president of Nutrilite and Meitinger and Castleberry, which was the marketing company that originally put the concept of the plan of sponsoring together. And we came home from that meeting and decided to stop everything else and said, we're going to give this business all we got. And the first thing we did when we pulled up to a gas station to get gas when we got home was to sell that man a box of Nutrilite XX. Now, I know we wanted to sponsor, but we had to, in those days, get 25 customers before we could sponsor. We eliminated that rule in this business so that you could expedite sponsoring. But that left us with a big mistake, because that drove the business to where people stopped worrying about getting customers. And if you study the business, you know that people who just sponsor and don't tend to the customer don't make any money for a long time, and a lot of them, if not most of them, quit. If somebody starts to make a few dollars, and I mean $50 or $100 a month, they will stay with you forever as long as they make a little money. But you must help them make some money. That means you have money left over after you pay for everything. Okay? That's called a profit. But we skipped that step too often. And we are now trying to return to that step. Jay and I got our 25 and then 40 and then 50 customers. That meant we were making over $1,000 a month, and that is 57 years ago, when that was a lot of money. And right off the bat, we were making that kind of money because we had customers. And we made our money off our customers. Then we could work long-term at building a distributorship. But you first have to survive and make a little money. And all I can tell you is that's what we did. And as we have studied the business, and the guys and gals in the company back there in Ada have gone over and over, and they even let me come to a few meetings and talk about what do we have to do to get this thing back on track. And they came back with the first circle. Now, that's not a new idea. It's an old idea that needs to be cemented in our minds and in our heads, because that is the way to build a strong business in the long run. When everybody has a few customers, as opposed to just what you use, then you have a business that is a marketing business. And in Quick Start, all you got to do is get them to punch a few buttons, and a sale is made. I'm standing in awe of the whole Quick Start idea, because it took all the grief and arguments and questions. In the old days, we had to say, well, how do I know I'll get my bonus? Because it was up to somebody else to give them the bonus. And all the other questions about getting product. And I go to my sponsor, he doesn't have it. And if he's not a good operator, he might not bother around to order it. And so somebody could make a sale but couldn't get the product they wanted to even fulfill the order. All that's gone. And your ability to service unlimited number of individuals is in that first circle. I still have people that use Neutralite that Jay and I sold when we first started. And they are still customers. They have been consuming this product all these years. Now that's what you call building a business. When you have repeat customers, and in the Neutralite business, once people start using it, they eat it forever and ever. And every month they will be making purchases. When I looked at the first circle, I began to think of a big circle with a 1 in front of it. If we all got 10 customers, this business would triple overnight. Your business, your real hardcore business at PV would triple when we just fill the first circle. And we found with most people, as you have, that fear is one of the biggest problems they deal with. And the fear of being unable to do it. You know, I used to say to people, they say, well, they would always tell me they couldn't afford it, or they say, well, I'm not interested now, or I don't think I can do it. They're all were telling